So press freedom is part of freedom of expression, and everybody has freedom of expression. But the freedom of the press means the freedom to have an institutional voice and the freedom to also live up to higher standards than any old freedom of expression. So I think the responsibility of the press is to really defend all freedom of expression, including of bloggers, of citizens, but also to use freedom of expression to make society proud that some people use freedom of expression in the public interest. So freedom of expression in the world today depends on where you are. So that if you're in the developed world, it's very much becoming a question of freedom of expression in cyberspace and who controls cyberspace. Whether the kind of big companies that dominate cyberspace, whether your expression is safe with them, or whether they might actually take you off their platforms, such as, take you off YouTube. Because they don't like what you're saying, or because some politician tells them, or because they get bought by another company. And when you're looking at the developing world, the freedom of expression is still very much an old media issue, a legacy media issue. And especially in Africa, it's an issue of the freedom to publish on the one hand, which is your freedom to produce utterances, but also the freedom to receive, which is the freedom of information, the ability to access information. So there are two issues there in particular. So in 1949, the international community agreed on Article 19 of the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, which says everybody has the right to freedom of expression, which includes the right to access information. And so that is something that governments need to be held up to. That's a standard that they agreed on. And then in 1991, UNESCO convened the Windhoek Conference in Namibia. And there, a lot of journalists came together and they called for media systems that were free, independent and pluralistic. And then that statement became adopted by UNESCO, which is 146 member states, and then it was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly as well. Even more governments have adopted that, supported that declaration. In fact, that's where we have World Press Freedom Day, coming out of that 1991 conference. So governments have also agreed to the conditions for a free, independent and pluralistic press. And so again, that's something that the international community needs to say, we made a commitment, and those of us who are not living up to it, we've got to bring them to reason. Well, let me think about that. To me, it's like oxygen, basically. If you don't have freedom of expression, it's like having a society that has no oxygen, because you need this stuff to invigorate. It's life-giving. How on earth can you transfer information and debate and reach solutions and create solutions to problems without having freedom of expression? So I'd say it's a physical metaphor. It's the oxygen of humanity, and especially now when you're in the information age, where economies, politics, and so on, they don't just science. They don't depend on hardware and this manufacturing steel and iron. They depend on information, and an information environment that's conducive to allowing human talent to share and grow and feel free to criticize and debate and go on. That's what's needed if you're going to really take advantage of the information age. With information technology, it's there. The platform is there now for more and more people to use. So that's a fantastic thing, and let's not go backwards in history. Let's go forwards and encourage the use of those platforms by as many people as possible, but also in an ethical way, the kind of way that journalism ought to be. It ought to set the standard also for how other people communicate in a mass communications environment.